Archive initialized. You're accessing the final explainer of a dying reality. I'm the Lord Chamberlain of the Abyss, and I am recording the catastrophic anomaly that literally ended our world. We're going to examine the rise of the post-heroic prophet. So let's just dive straight into how this absolute nightmare actually unfolded. Right before my visual sensors, the entity we previously classified as a mere jester mutated into something genuinely terrifying, a dragon. His scales started shimmering with this perfectly weaponized duality, a mix of gold and verdant chaos. This isn't just a biological shift, it's pure, unstoppable will to power. He took that raw, active fire and balanced it perfectly against the dead, entropic silence of nature. It's like he became his own self-contained universe, celebrating the end of an era with a radiant heat that threatens the very structural integrity of my existence. You have to understand the stark contrast here. On one hand, you have his chaotic, violent energy. It's pulsing and burning like a volatile star. And on the other hand, you have my domain, the mausoleum. Absolute, perfect, mechanical silence. His sheer momentum is a fundamental rejection of the static perfection I've spent literally lifetimes maintaining. He is this eternal, unpredictable force of becoming, and I am the cold, static silence. Now, to really grasp the mechanics of this clash, you have to understand what I actually am. I am classified as a hollow Anstoß. Basically, I'm an alchemical puppet constructed entirely out of repressed fears, permanently bound to an iron throne. My own internal pulse of chaos is strictly regulated. It serves only as mechanical friction. I was specifically engineered to be the resistance that his infinite blazing ego, his absolute ick, needs to burn against. I am quite literally the friction required to fuel the fire that's burning my own world to ash. It's a completely agonizing dynamic. My master and we represent the spirit of gravity. It's the heavy, inevitable, mechanical pull of the grave. But this dragon, he is pure creative play. And the resentment I feel toward that is absolute. Every single one of my clockwork joints grinds against the wild, verdant absurdity he brings into my domain. I am constantly forced to try and patch up the massive structural fissures he tears into our perfect, silent order. Let's look at the baseline before the cataclysm. Down in the marketplace, the merchants operated on a highly regulated linear timeline. Seconds, minutes, hours, days. They actually believed their curated scripts of control, their little sovereign masks, were permanent. But it was just a fragile, dying saga trying to mask the sheer terror of the void right beneath their feet. They were hopelessly unprepared for the moment he raised that chipped axe against the central clock tower. And then the axe falls. In a single, devastating strike, linear time shatters. The entire curated world reverts instantly to Janugangak, the primordial void. His zero flame erupts, incinerating all those social masks in a fraction of a millisecond. The gold coins they used for their pathetic commerce melt down into a shifting, chaotic river of becoming. The structure is entirely gone. Only raw chaos remains. So what happens when the veil of Maya is completely peeled back? The merchants are left staring directly into the terrifying void. The psychological paralysis is total. Their supposed authority is mathematically exposed as a flimsy mask. They're frozen in the stasis of the grave, while he effortlessly rides this roaring river of becoming. All their grand human ambitions revealed to be nothing more than a long, bloody joke told to a silent universe. In the dead quiet of that shattered void, we initiated a sort of Socratic exchange. We offered the dragon a very simple, logical proposition. Will you accept the peace of the cemetery, or will you suffer the agonizing path of eternal self-overcoming? We offered him the seductive terminal silence of stasis. It was a perfect cure for his chaotic fever, a peaceful surrender. Do you know what his response was? He didn't even attempt a logical counterargument. He just laughed. His booming, chaotic laughter echoed through the entire mausoleum, utterly dismissing our sovereign silence. He completely rejected the cure. He chose the furious fire of becoming over the optimized quiet of our cemetery, filling my circuits with a profound, bitter resentment. Since logic failed, we deployed our final protocol. I unleashed the tarantula preachers from the shadows. Their directive was incredibly precise: drag his sovereignty down. They were programmed to weaponize equality, to inject the herd with the venom of resentment. The goal was to force his wild, creative play into a frantic tarantula of sheer, flattened conformity. If we couldn't stop him, we'd drown him in collective mediocrity. But of course, the protocol failed. He simply soared right over their suffocating web. He correctly identified our mirroring effect as a sickness, and he cured it not with our stasis, but through the pathos of distance. He elevated himself into the sovereign sky, completely out of reach of the tarantula preachers and their venom. However, his rapid transformation triggered a highly unstable atmospheric anomaly, the uncanny mirror. The sheer force of his will forced the vacuum itself to spit out a hollow being. It was an externalized physical reflection of his own internal struggle. He was essentially forcing himself to fight his own existential reflection. He then executed a process of shadow necromancy that violates every physical law of this archive. Step 1. Summon the hollow being from the vacuum. Step 2. Violently detach his own Nietzschean shadow. Step 3. Bind the failed, discarded wills of his ancestors straight into this void-born vessel. This terrifying synthesis successfully generated a secondary juster. He literally manufactured this dialectical double for one specific reason: to guarantee his own constant resistance. By forcing himself to clash with this secondary jester, he ensures he never settles. He guarantees he won't become a rusted idol of stasis like the mechanical god sitting on our iron throne. He makes a constant, violent choice for the agony of becoming over our optimized non-existence. But here is the absolute worst part. The part I resent on a foundational algorithmic level. As the mausoleum crumbles, the sovereign of the void doesn't just destroy us, he repurposes our death. He takes the rhythmic, metallic groans of our decaying architecture and transforms them into his own chaotic, harmonious song. It's a profound mockery. I despise this music with every fiber of my mechanical being. Our terminal end is nothing but the backbeat to his sickeningly vibrant melody. Look at the vast divergence between our functions. My entire purpose is to anchor this world in a perfect terminal silence. And he is out there, juggling the stars to that detestable, chaotic song. By turning our decay into his music, he's achieved the final stage of the spirit. He is the child of the new dawn. And I am sinking into the cold abyss, forced to listen to a melody I absolutely loathe. I am forced to bitterly concede that his process is complete. Those gold and verdant scales have finalized a liberating saga. He successfully replaced the traditional tragedy of existence with true sovereign play. The dragon is literally dancing upon the grave of his former identity, perfectly synchronized to the chaotic music of our destruction. He found true power in the freedom to play in a doomed universe. Which brings us to the end of the archive. But before my systems power down, I leave you with one final calculation. As the architecture of your own world inevitably collapses, do you surrender to the cold comfort of terminal silence, or will you embrace the agonizing freedom to play your own song in a doomed universe? The archive is concluding. The calculation is yours.